My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. I'm going to give you my favorite PrizePicks entry for UFC Sao Paulo. And if you don't know what PrizePicks is, it's daily fantasy. You come in here, you say higher or lower than the numbers you see on the screen, and you can 10 times your money. You could even get some wrong and still get paid. They will even give you free money to play this, to use PrizePicks. The only thing you need to do to get that free money is go to wewantpicks.com/prizepicks. If you use promo code WWP, they will instantly match your deposit. If you give them $100, they'll give you $100. If you give them $50, they'll give you $50. You take that money, that very free money that you got instantly, and you build yourself an entry. And if you're right, you have even more free money. If you're wrong, well, you only lost the free money. So no skin off your back. WeWantPicks.com/PrizePicks, promo code WWP. Let's go ahead and build an entry. This card, I feel, is a pretty easy card when it comes to picking winners, but a tricky card when it comes to some of these props. But we'll go ahead and try to find our spots. The first one is Marc, Diakiese, 45.5 significant strikes. That is a tricky one because Kaue Fernandes is a UFC debut, but he's on a wild, he's good. And I think he can win this fight. And Marc Diakiese all of a sudden has become a wrestler. So he may be diving at legs, grappling heavy, and not throwing strikes. So we're going to leave that alone. Diakiese Gomes, same thing, 75.5 significant strikes. Seems high. The less probably actually makes sense here. We'll go ahead and add it, and then I'll show you what I actually built. The less makes sense here because I think she can get some takedowns. I think she could potentially finish the normally very durable Angela Hill. But the reality is, Diakiese Gomes is not the most high volume person. Angela Hill is very durable. 75.5 is a solid line because logically speaking, you look at the historical data, you look where we are, it should go more. But I think Angela Hill is a little too old in enemy territory. Diakiese Gomes, we have seen fight-ending power on more than one occasion, so potentially less than 75.5 significant strikes. I also like the Renat, but we're going to leave that alone because I have him in the takedowns that I'll show you. And the rest of these are pretty tricky, except the Almeida, 15.5 significant strikes. That seems like a very low number. If you go through his fight history, he has gotten above that number a few times. He got above that with Shamil. He's gone above that number a few times. But what makes this fight unique is it's Derrick Lewis. Derrick Lewis is either going to knock you out immediately or quit after he gets taken down and beaten up a little bit. I hate to call him a quitter, but we've seen him break. We've seen him just say, forget it. If you go look at the Sergey Spivak versus Derrick Lewis fight, which I think this looks like, except even more dominant, there was not 15.5 significant strikes landed there. So I think Jonathan Almeida is going to shoot instantly, as we know he will. And on the ground, I think there's going to be a little bit of peppering, and then, he'll grab a neck or grab his back or something like that. So I do not think he will get past 15.5 significant strikes, even though that seems like a very low number. And Jonathan Almeida has more than one fight where that number hasn't been touched, and so does Derrick Lewis. Derrick Lewis has more than one fight where 15.5 significant strikes were not landed on him, win or lose. And I feel like the under on this number protects us on both sides. So Derrick Lewis, one punch early knockout like his last fight. Well, this will still hit. I'll have other issues, but this will still hit. Fantasy score, I'm probably going to leave this alone. The only ones I would consider are the over for Renat, but again, I like his takedown lines. And then the Bonfim brothers can certainly get past their numbers, but we're going to leave it alone because these are pretty high numbers to begin with. And, even with all of a sudden, Gabriel Bonfim wins in the second round instead of the first, and he's not at 118 fantasy points. Jonathan Almeida, he's already juiced 120 fantasy points. A lot needs to happen to get there. So I don't love any of these fantasy point lines. Even Eduarda Moura is a little bit juiced. So we'll go fight time minutes. If we're looking at fight time minutes, again, Renat, this should go to a decision. I actually love all the Renat lines, but we're going to go takedowns on him. Vitor Petrino, 11 fight minutes. That is probably another more. Modescus is a pretty tough guy. Vitor's a pretty tough guy. I think we can get midway to the third round or to a full decision. The Bonfim brothers, we're going to leave both of those alone. Vince Michel is very tough. Ismael Bonfim is a cannonball, but can go to a decision. We'll leave both of those alone. And Jonathan Almeida, 4 minutes. What the hell are you going to do with 4 minutes? So I'm not going to touch that either. And the very last one that will go ahead and make something happen. Ooh, I'm flying over here. Caio Borralho over 2 takedowns. I think that's his path in this fight and every other fight. And then Renat over 3. I think Renat is, again, that's his path to this fight and most others as well. And he's gotten past 3 takedowns in the majority of his fights. He didn't need to in his last fight because he had that fight-ending power against a now retired Kevin Lee. But I think we can trust Caio and Renat to do what they do, which is just dive at legs, shoot takedown after takedown. So we do have a 5 entry here. I already have an entry built that I put up. I'll walk you through that one and this one. We're going to go ahead. If I want to leave this at 20 bucks, 20 is going to pay out 200. If I get 4 correct, meaning I got one of these wrong, I will still double my money. If I get 3 correct, which means 2 of these are wrong, I'm still going to get some money back. We're just going to throw a cool 10 at it because I already have an entry built, and let me show you those entries. So the one I just built, Diakiese Gomes, fewer than 75.5 significant strikes. And actually, fewer is the proper way to say it. It's not less, it's fewer. But they're not going to write fewer out, so they'll just be grammatically incorrect. Diakiese Gomes, fewer than 75.5 significant strikes. Jailton Almeida, fewer than 15.5 significant strikes. Then we went more on the fight minutes for Vitor, more on takedowns for both Caio and Renat. The play that I did earlier, 20 bucks to win 100, it's the exact same entry, essentially, minus a couple of legs. We had the Jailton, Renat, and Caio. Whether you agree with this or not, the most important thing you can do is get the free money. Go to WeWantPicks.com/PrizePicks. Use promo code WWP. Get that very free money. Build yourself a baseball entry, a football entry, a UFC entry, or combine them all. Get the free money. WeWantPicks.com/PrizePicks. Promo code WWP.